Financial Bunny TV.
Hey guys, my name is Nicolette Mashile, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about the coronavirus and the type of impact and effect that it will have on your personal finances. Now, I just want to appeal to every single person who is watching this video right now to please exercise the precautionary measures that we all need to be taking in this crisis that we find ourselves in. We've declared a national disaster in South Africa, and I hope that in your home country, wherever you are, you also are taking those measures by washing your hands, exercising social distancing, and when you do show any signs of the coronavirus or COVID-19, you do seek medical attention. But remember to call before you actually go to your doctor so that we don't find ourselves in a situation where we become super spreaders. Now remember that this thing will hit the most vulnerable people in our different countries, and these are the people that have to go to work. These are the people that are living in poverty-stricken areas, and these are also the people that have existing diseases, may it be pneumonia, TB, asthma, any type of respiratory disease or illnesses might put you in a higher risk, and also obviously our elderly. So it's important that we take care of those people, because at the end of the day, we as a country, we as a people are as vulnerable as the most vulnerable person in our own countries. So it does not matter that you are able to self-quarantine, you are able to take yourself out of the system, but if somebody else, if you infect somebody else that is not able to do that, this thing will only spread further than it actually needs to. And you know that already in South Africa, our health system is already struggling. We don't have enough beds if this thing goes beyond the amount of people that can be treated by the health system in its current state. So I'd like to appeal to you guys, do not panic. Let's do what we need to do. Wash our hands, social distancing, quarantine yourself, go and seek medical attention if you're finding yourself in a situation. But the other thing that this coronavirus has kind of blown open is really personal finance, and how people, including our employers and companies, how they have taken care of themselves. And the one thing is having those emergency accounts. I don't think there will ever come a time where emergency savings are going to be of utmost importance, especially to people that are living hand to mouth, or people that are finding themselves in a situation where it's a no job, no pay type of situation. Because if you are unable to go to work, it means that you are not going to get paid. And if there are out there scums of the world, employers who are telling their most vulnerable employers who actually cannot stay home at work that they're not going to get paid if they do stay home, really, please go and self-check, because you did not do the right things in making sure that the company stays liquid and has some sort of cash flow for these type of situations. Now, the other thing that has happened is that the markets have taken a big knock. So if you are investing in any type of form or way into the market right now, you probably are also feeling a pinch, because share prices have dropped. Share prices have really dropped. But the one thing that the market downturn is really going to show us is what type of an investor are you? Now remember that nothing that I say in this video constitutes as financial advice. If you are looking for financial advice, please speak to somebody who is certified and registered with the FSCA. So let's talk about the market downturn. Now we've seen Capitec take a big knock. We've seen Standard Bank take a big knock. We've seen Old Mutual take a big knock. We've seen Sanlam take a big knock. Sasol has been taking a big knock. They've been bleeding out of their market shares. They've been bleeding in terms of their company share prices, right? Now, what does this actually mean, and what type of an investor are you? The big question that I've been getting is it the right time to buy, Nicolette? And I'm like, first and foremost, I cannot answer that question, because that will definitely constitute as financial advice, and I'm no expert when it comes to shares investing. So I do, number one, I think the first thing you need to do is to speak to somebody who is definitely an investment or portfolio expert. But I want you to think about it this way, and Warren Buffett always speaks about it. He says, do you buy the stock, or do you buy the business? It's important that when you are investing in shares, you know and you understand what the business of the companies that you are buying into actually are. You need to understand the business, how they make money, what is their market capitalization. All those things are very, very important, because at the end of the day, especially in situations like this, where they are losing their market share and the share price is dropping, you need to ask yourself the question, is it still a good business to buy into? And if the answer is yes, that it's still a good business according to your own observation and your own analysis, then it means that you are getting those shares at a very good price, which means that you're walking into a sale basically and you're buying items at a sale. If your answer is no, then you know that maybe this is not the right time to be buying, and if you have bought, it might be the right time for you to actually exit. But again, I'm going to ask you, what type of investor are you? And this is the right time for you to be able to see. Because a lot of us, what we do is when we invest in shares, we almost always take on risk that we actually cannot handle. And I'll give you an example. Most of us get into a car and we start driving. And if somebody asks you, for instance, I drive a car that goes up until 300, right, in terms of speed. Most people ask me this question, would you drive it at 300 speed? And the answer that I always say is yes. Why not? I know how to drive. I should be able to drive my car at 300. Until I'm actually put in the situation where I gotta drive my car at 300, now all of a sudden things change. And a lot of us also invest in that manner. We invest with this in a safe space where the market or the price of a company is going up, the price of the share is going up, so it's safe, it feels comfortable, so you invest into that share price, right? Or invest into that company. The moment there is something that happens and the share price drops or the price of the share drops, all of a sudden you start to actually see people's real risk appetite and what type of a risk appetite a person actually holds and what kind of money they are using to invest. Because at the end of the day, while investing in shares is a long-term strategy, it's not speculating, it's not you trying to time the market, and it's definitely not gambling, it is a risk. Investing in the share market or in the stock market is a risk. But the question is, what or which money are you using to invest in this? Because if it's money that you actually cannot afford to lose, maybe perhaps the stock market is not the right place for you to be investing. That's number one. Number two, we talk about how a lot of people are emotional investors. Are you an emotional investor? Is this currently making you panic? Because if it's making you panic and you're like, oh my goodness, what is actually happening? Should I be taking out my money? And you are going in disarray and you're logging in and out of easy equities, it means that you're an emotional investor. And maybe perhaps you yourself need to then check out yourself and start trying to build your emotional intelligence, because markets do fluctuate. Markets do take these kind of knocks. And when there is a global crisis, it is expected that a market or the market will take such a big knock. Now you've got to ask yourself now, what type of an investor am I really? And the third thing is, are you an investor that follows trends? Are you going to be doing what everybody is doing? Warren Buffett, again, speaks a lot about this. And he says he gets excited when the market is down, because this is when a lot of people are pulling out, and that's when he goes in. So what type of an investor are you? Are you that investor that is like, you are part of the cows that are following the herd? Or are you going to take a different route? And on that different route, you get to know who you are, you get to understand your own personal finances. And the other thing, or the last thing, is what type of investment strategy do you have? And does it make sense for you to reach your financial goals? That's really going to be important, because if you stick to your strategy, what is happening in the market should not be causing you to panic. Because if you understand how the markets work, you understand that eventually the markets are going to self-correct. But you also have to understand that investing is a long-term thing, which means that even if the market corrects, for you to be able to see value in what you might be buying right now, it might take you 1, 2, or 3 years. So it's really, really important. And the last thing that, part of the investment strategy is also, what is your investor DNA? What does your investor DNA look like? What type of investor are you? I think this is the right time for you to go and sit down with your expert, with your portfolio manager, with your financial expert, financial advisor, financial planner, and really look at your entire direction or approach when it comes to personal financing, and also the type of asset allocation. I think a lot of people right now who have put their money in the stock market probably need to go and re-look at how much of their asset allocation have they allocated to bonds. Because bonds right now might be doing well, but I don't know. Currently, the Reserve Bank has cut interest rates by 1%. What does that mean? Because the repo rate currently is sitting at 5.25, the repo rate. Remember, that is the Reserve Bank's rate to borrowing commercial banks. It's been cut at 5.2, it's sitting at 5.25. So what will now the prime lending rate actually look like? It's interesting times right now, interesting times for the stock market, interesting times for property, interesting times for bonds, interesting times for cash. And anybody that's got cash right now is probably in a more advantageous position than anyone else. Because remember that if there are going to be opportunities within the markets right now and you've got cash, it means that you can take advantage of these opportunities. So perhaps maybe it is a good time for you as an investor to go back to the drawing board and ask yourself, what kind of investor are you?